Okay, we come to the next question. Second, some scientists have said evolution is real. I don't believe in it, but can you explain how the Bible says it isn't true?
I wouldn't go so much in detail about scientists. For the start, I would really encourage dear brothers that they go to YouTube and search for a preacher. He's a real scientist. He loved the Lord and he's been into this, and I just was watching before we started this video. One of his messages is called 100 Reasons Why Evolution is Stupid. And the man is named Kent Hovind. So I really encourage you, just go and look at this video. It's about 2 hours. Just go and dig into it and dive into it, and you will learn a lot of things this man of God is speaking about. Evolution, it's against the Bible. It's not as something we can hold it as in parallel to the Bible, because Bible simply says creation had a start, a point where they refer it to a big bang. They call it with the little thing that really revolves and it blows out and brings all this kind of beautiful order. And I don't think bang theory really stands when we look at the Word of God. It's a theory, and it's based on estimation, never being proved. And even the scientists themselves, they give predictions of 40 million years, but until now they tried to do some analysis in laboratories, but never have been proven or accredited.
Now, it's harder for them to actually prove the theory of the evolution, but for us as Christians, we have the Holy Book, the Bible. It clearly states in Genesis how God created the earth, and how He created the light, Adam and Eve, the animals, and how He told them to multiply. So this is from our point of view. If we think about it from a logical point also, the creation itself, the universe, the way it was designed and placed perfectly with everyone knows about the gravity, and how it affects other كواكب, planets, yeah, and it's done in such a way. Why Earth was chosen to have sustained life?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Why is it perfectly put in a place where it doesn't get too cold, well you freeze to death, or you get too hot, well everything burns? It has trees, plants, animals, everything living on it. And how is that possible?
Yes, I would take this opportunity, brother, and we'll speak about how God created this creation, rather than speaking about the Big Bang Theory and try to abolish it.
Exactly.
And that video is well enough full of information that really makes sure that this theory is truly, who follows it, it is stupid idea, with all respect to mankind. But I will look at the Bible. Clearly, God is a God of order. He set things in order, and He clearly mentioned, you can see God in the beginning created heaven and earth. It says in chapter 1, Genesis 1. And He went into that systematic order in 6 days. Every day when He finished the task, He said, it was good. It was good. And on the 6th day, it was very good, because above all creation, He created mankind. And He created them, male and female, in His image. And that's the beauty of it. That's why you pinpointed an idea when you were talking about Earth. Earth, out of the planets, it's the tiniest, one of the planets, tiniest among all this galaxy. Yet, God said in the beginning, God created heavens and earth. What is it? It's a particle of dust compared into that galaxy. But why? Because God loved man and He created him and He has planted him on this earth. That's why there was a big, great desire in God's heart towards the planet Earth. And we can see in these 6 days how into order God made things. Day one, He said, let there be light. And He called the day and night. And it was night and morning, and it was first day. And we can see that some people think it is a day that represents a time, long time. But I believe, I lean towards the teaching of the Bible that a day is a 24 hours day. Because it says the first day, it was the second day, and the third day, and it goes forth unto the 6 days. So, and the second day, God made firmament among the waters. Obviously, the earth was submerged into water, and then He made heaven. That visible heaven can be seen. And then on the third day, God made earth to be shown on the earth itself by the mountains rise up out of the water to come and bring dry land. And then on the third day as well, God even made the plants. Also, the fourth day, you can see, day 1, day 2, day 3. And day 4 is in line with day 1. Because God said, let there be light. And then on the day 4, God said, let us make lights. And He made the greater light and the smaller lights. You can see day 1 is in line with the day 4. Because He said, let there be light. And God is light Himself. His exposition onto this planet, His presence there was the light. But then continues. So I believe that God in the beginning created heaven and earth. And He created all this galaxy. But then from day 1, we can see the earth was void and empty. And the Spirit of God was hovering on the earth. God recreated whatever He created because there was a distortion into His creation. And when you link the Bible, you would understand that there was one of the archangels who fell down. And Jesus said in the book of Luke, He said, I saw devil coming down from hell. From heaven, coming down, and he went down. He was cursed from the presence of God, and I believe that's why earth had a bit of distortion. The Spirit of God came hovering to restore whatever has been created. By the way, the word created mentioned in Genesis chapter 1 3 times only. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth, and in verse 17, God created all the animals, I should say, all the creatures God created. And in verse 27, God created man in His image. 3 times He mentioned, because God created everything, He formed him without nothing. He brought the substances from nowhere, and then created heaven and earth. And then His Spirit was hovering on the earth after the fall of devil, or the archangel, and His Spirit was recreating earth. Every time He said God made. There's a difference between make and God create. But when He wanted to create animals, He said created. He had the substances, He had the dust. He made them out of the dust. But He made, there is a new element added in animals. What is that? The soul and the blood. That's why in animals, God said God created the animals. And when you come to man, God again created. Why? Because there's a new element added to the man. What was that? It was the Spirit of God. So God blew His Spirit in the nostrils of Adam, and He made him out of spirit and soul and body. Like the animal, but different. The animal has only the soul and the body. So we can see 3 times mentioned the creation. Created heaven and earth, and then created animals, because there is a new element coming into the animal, which is the soul and the blood, and the soul is in the blood. In Leviticus, book of Leviticus mentioned that clearly. And then God created man. So we can see day 1, what he did, day 2, and day 3, and then day 4 is in line with day 1, because God said, let us make the greater light and the smaller light, which is sun and moon. And it was set with God into different positions, and that rotation made the days and the nights. And we can see it started for us, we can count the timing, which was settled on the day 4. However, he started from day 1. To him is knowledgeable that day 1. But to us it started in effect. We could see it from the day 4, where God set the greater light and the smaller light, and that movement around the earth that brings the 24 hours, 12 hours night, 12-hour day. And then the 5th day God created the animals, where it goes in line with the 2nd day when God created earth. If you remember and he made heavens, so he can create the birds also into the heavens. And then the 3rd day is in line with the 6th day. God made the plant and prepared the plant, and then the 6th day God created the animals of the land, because on the 5th day God created the birds and all the sea animals. The sea animals. On the 6th day God created the animals of the earth, and at the end God created man and women. So we can see that great plan of God. It is so clear. It has a start, and it's being done with great wisdom of God, and it's in line with fact. So we believe behind all this creation there is a great creator. His name is God.
Just one thing about the Bible. Is there anything in the Bible that talks about how creation talks about God and how people know that there is a God?
Yes. If you read from the book of Romans, if we start with Psalm 19.
Psalm 19.
Right, this is the book you can have of this in the Old Testament. Psalm 19. Until you find it, I'll briefly say this psalm speaks about heaven and earth declares the glory of God. So from verse 1 up to verse 6 speaks about heaven and earth, that it has an evidence that God...
Psalm 19.
Yeah. And then from verse 7 to the end of it, there is another declaration of God's presence or existence, is the Word of God itself. Because God revealed Himself. Without His revelation unto us, we never would have a clue about God the Creator. God knows us because He created us. But we don't know Him unless He reveals Himself to us about Him. So, from verse 1, if you read to 6, it speaks about heaven and earth declare the glory of God. This is the big book.
The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament so it shows His handiwork. Day unto day utter speech, and night unto night show knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath He set a tabernacle for the sun, which is a bridegroom coming up, a bridegroom, bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it. and there is nothing hid from the heat of thereof.
It's amazing. You can see in these words, like these sentences, speaking about the greatness of God, who is the creator of heavens, because his mighty hands has made that. And even heavens and earth declares that, speaks. And it says day after day, it acknowledges. Heavens is speaking, is talking to mankind, telling them day and night, is showing knowledge. Just that exposition, when you look at heavens, when you look at the mountains, when you look at all this creation, you would say there is a creator behind that. And it continues, it says, they don't even speak. They are silent. They are not human. God gave us the gift of speaking. However, with their silence, yet their words goes until the end of the world.
Wow.
Their silence, their logic has come into the whole world. He made for the sun a tabernacle, like a place to dwell in. And the sun is like a groom coming out of his chamber. That's what it says. And he is delighted like a mighty who is in a run race. He is running. That's the sun that comes from the morning and it sets on the night. And it goes in circles day and night. Speaks of the glory of God. So you can see the declaration of the creation unto mankind. But when you continue, if you read from verse 7 unto the end, Psalm 19, speaks about another book. I have it in Arabic. That's okay. Take your time. So that's why I said heaven is a big book. Speaks to everybody. It doesn't talk. However, their knowledge has been revealed unto the whole mankind.
9.
From verse 9, there is another book, which is the Bible, speaks about God.
The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous. That's 19.
19, verse 7. Right.
Verse 7.
Yeah.
The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes.
Keep going.
The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb.
Amen. So you can see here speaking about another book. The first book from verse 1 to 6 was the heaven. It's a big book for everybody. Can see, even though the heaven does not talk, but its presence declared that there is a creator.
Yeah.
There is another book, that's the Bible. The commandment of the law that restore the soul. The testimonies of the Lord that makes the ignorant wise man. And then it speaks the commandment of the Lord that is righteous, that will cherish the heart. And it is as precious, even more than the gold, even purer than, more than the honey. That's the word of God.
That's from the Old Testament. Anything in the New Testament?
In New Testament, if you look at the book of Romans, chapter 1, speaks that also that God declared his glory. That mankind is with no excuse to.
Romans
Chapter 1, verse 19 and 20.
Okay. Because that which may be known of God manifests in them, for God has shown it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse.
So they are without excuse because God has declared. He made his knowledge so obvious to everyone of mankind because God has revealed it unto them.
Wow.
He revealed himself unto mankind, yet they have rejected. Instead of saying, after all, give him glory and thanks, they went and worshipped idols. And they made God for themselves with their hands and went down and bowed before their gods to worship him. And they left the true living God who is the creator of the heaven.
Thank you, Brother Ronnie.